Hyatt Hotel.
Oh, okay.
Call it a build event. So it's like a industry professionals kind of meet down there. And
It makes me sound when you say it like that. It was, by the way, before we go further, I live stream on my car, so just be careful what you share. I don't want you to share all the company secrets,
okay.
and then all of a sudden you're like in trouble.
Please use your seatbelt.
You're welcome.
For your safety.
You're very welcome. I was gonna say the way you said that it makes me reminds me of like, man, that takes me back.
Yeah.
And so that's the big deal today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
They host it every year, so I went last year and it was a pretty good event.
And this is part of your career work that you do, I guess.
Yeah, it's I'm in the construction field, right? I know.
I guess you guys can clean up pretty well too.
Yeah, you have to do it once in a while.
Well, there is like the construction side. There is like the business side. Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Or-
So I'm a project manager, so
Okay.
I have a little bit of field exposure and also some office business side.
Which is a nice combination,
It is.
I imagine.
It complements itself well. It
Yeah.
gives me a bit of both. So.
Does it feel like you're on a field trip whenever you get out to the
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too. I was a delivery driver before I came back to drive for Uber.
Okay.
Loved that job all over the place for sure. But then I went into management. So now I had oversight over the guys. So instead of just having like the specific roads that I was committed to,
Yeah.
I got to go across sections on
Oh, cool.
each one. So that made it kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to be good with people and be able to.
I'm working on that part. Today you're
It's not
catching
easy.
me on a good day.
Yeah. Be
Fortunate for you.
Yeah.
It looks like another amazing sunset in queue for tonight, eh?
Yeah.
Yesterday
Yesterday
before
was
yesterday.
foggy.
Yesterday was foggy.
Yeah.
The day before was glorious.
Yeah.
Actually, today was even nicer than the day before yesterday because it was warmer. Like it was
Yeah.
+9, +10. Lots of melting going on, but clear sky
Yeah.
again.
It's nice.
I'm not sure what happened yesterday. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it was like, all right.
Well, it caught me off guard because last week I looked at the weather and I'm like, oh, it's a nice week, wasn't it?
I know, it's crazy.
Did you come from Calgary?
I did.
Yeah.
I did, but it's just, down the street.
Yeah. Well, I never know when to book. Like, I don't know if
Oh.
there's Ubers out here, so I've actually planned ahead a little bit today.
It's kind of smart to do that because sometimes, being out on the fringe here like this.
Yeah. You just.
Did I just say that?
Yeah.
That's a very politically charged word.
It's okay.
But then, and it's one that I think Trudeau made very popular. Well, he used the word fringe as far as doing the convoy with the truckers.
Oh.
It's like it's just those fringe members of society.
Yeah.
People are like,
I forgot about that.
all right, we're gonna own that word. They said, and they. Well, he made another word really popular, or actually, he didn't make it popular. It just stands out now whenever I hear it, and that's the word moist. Remember the controversy with the word moist?
No.
So he was, I think he was giving this press release, and he was describing this water, and he's like, it's wet and it's moist, and then he's like, and as soon as he said it, you could just see he's like,
Oh.
that was not the right word. So everyone who is not his fan, who's not a fan of him, they're like, all right.
Can you imagine being in the spotlight like that, where every word matters?
Oh my goodness. Well,
Every single word.
here's the thing though. Hear my analysis. I think it wouldn't matter if you're able to maintain really good connection with those you're representing. When you start to lose connection with those that you're representing, when you start to miss the boat on why they put you there in the first place,
Yeah.
there's less forgiveness, there's less giving the benefit of the doubt. If, like, for example, let's take our mayor in Calgary, Yoti,
Yeah.
Gondek, yeah. So, I don't know if you remember, this is just amazing, by the way. Oh, so amazing. Now, as I say this, I hold no malice for these individuals. I'm actually really intrigued as I watch this kind of dynamic. But here's my observations. I noticed that she was the popular one that everyone wanted to have for mayor, which is great. She got in.
Yeah.
She made some really significant decisions that were not in the favor of the city. People got really ticked off. But because she didn't like jump on it and say, hey, my bad, like let me just try to do whatever, like there was silence there. And that continued to widened the divide between her and her constituents. And then when some significant unexpected things happen, like with a water main breaking, for example, and she had to bring some really tough news to this too late by that time. Too late because the divide had been so great. She had not like mended those things that she made mistakes about before along the way, and so she lost a lot of trust. And so the response from the people was, "Sure, we'll listen to you, but we hate you while we're listening to you."
Yeah.
And we're going to hold you far more responsible for more than you're responsible for taking on, basically, right? And so I wonder if it isn't the same thing with our prime minister, to the extent that he's done this so often now that you see that guy, a rough day, right? I think he went off and met that post there. Yeah. So anyway, because he has missed the cue on so many ways with representing the country in general, like he was saying, I'll be the prime minister for the whole country, right?
Yeah.
Yet here we are feeling that divide again, especially on the west, just because he's been eroding trust gradually. Like he had a real stronghold, but when that's now everyone's seeing that he's done, basically. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he missed those opportunities along the way in a consistent time.
Yeah.
Like there's so many opportunities like that were really unfortunate too much, And so all that to say, I wonder if these significant representing, I'm facing the music when I need the music, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my assessment.
No, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Maybe not in a way that you want to see that everyone will say back, because not everyone will say that.
Yeah.
But there is a way to face the music.
Yeah.
To face the music, you have to face the consequences.
Yeah.
And you have to, especially your kids. When your kids see this, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When your kids see this. But the thing is, like, the choices that he's been making and the way he keeps on, like, kind of pushing forward, regardless of taking intel. I'm wondering, like, how are you seeing your legacy going forward, and what are you leaving behind?
Yeah.
Was it worthwhile for whatever decisions he made along the way to draw these lines?
Yeah, he is human, right?
He
and
is.
you always have to remember that. At the
True.
same time, it's like
He's human.
humans have a little bit more of like
Totally. Like messiness. That messy factor, right? I have water for you on the side, by the way. Feel free if you like.
Awesome, thank you. I'm good for this moment, but thank you.
Nonetheless, they have included that I have the answers to solve the world's problem. No one has noticed yet, So here I I'm so humble about it as well too, I tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a couple of things.
When they ask.
Interestingly enough, in this culture here, two things that are really discussed for topics of conversations: politics. Second is religion. I've often tried to understand the why. Like, why is it somewhat like off limit? I have my idea. Let me hear yours. If you've thought of this, this.
Yeah, I don't think it's off limits for everyone, right? I think
Not
just,
for everyone.
Just some people, they just get so heated, right?
Yeah, that's the
They're
thing.
so passionate, right?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
So focused on this is my idea. I don't want to hear anyone else's talk about it.
Yeah. I've noticed the same too. For me,
I'm pretty open book. I hear and listen to it.
You're open to it, kind of thing. Yeah, I almost think it's perhaps uneasier to talk about for many because in some way they have imbibed the position that they hold with their identity. And so when you differ with their position, they almost feel it on a personal level where they're like, you're rejecting me in essence. Like, you're rejecting my ideas, so you're rejecting me, and I don't like that idea. So I wonder if there isn't maybe that crossover.
Yeah.
Sort.
Quite possible, yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons I love this area. This panoramic spread.
Yeah, it's nice right here.
It's epic, man. As far as I can see.
Have you been in Calgary for
A long
most of your
time?
life?
No.
No?
I moved out here 15 years ago.
Okay.
Just finished my studies. After which I went out to Saskatchewan for a few years, and then I came back 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I feel like I've been here long enough
Mm-hmm.
to get familiar with the city, but no, I haven't had a lot of history. How about you?
Yeah, born and raised.
No way.
In Calgary, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been here the whole time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I was born here and
This is
traveled
home.
around a few places with my father in the same construction industry. And
No
I kind of
way.
came back and
Oh, wow. Okay.
Met my wife and kind of
Here.
grounded here now. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So this is like home turf for you.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Not to say I would rather be somewhere else. Like you always travel to other places.
What other places have you seen though that have like beckoned your interest?
We travel to the States
Yep.
pretty often. I
Yep.
really love,
Yeah.
Florida, Phoenix.
Yeah, the nice areas.
Yeah.
Although they do have their fair share of like hurricanes and tornadoes.
Oh,
right?
you betcha. Yeah.
So
they do.
there's
yeah,
that
yeah.
there. But
Florida for sure they do. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I feel like everywhere you live, there's something
There's something.
to be worried about.
I've yet to hear that about New Zealand. So New Zealand, I've heard it's like Australia minus the bugs and critters and all the creepy crawly things.
Really?
That's what I've heard. And I mean, it's gorgeous
How is there
there.
none of that there?
The only problem with New Zealand that I've heard is it's so isolated that getting stuff to New Zealand takes time.
Oh, okay.
But from what I hear, like an amazing place to live, great government, like just quality of life. And I mean, that's where they shot Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
I'm a fan. So one day I'd love to go and experience that. I
Yeah,
mean-
it's I've heard great things about it too. But
Yeah.
we have some. Well, my daughter goes to school up in Airdrie, and her
Whoa.
friend is moving to Australia, and they're pretty
Okay.
hard on her. But I
Yeah.
don't know much about that culture, so I started looking it
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
it's actually a pretty big country.
It is.
Australia, it's huge.
It is, yeah.
And then New Zealand's got a lot smaller.
It is a lot
and
smaller.
stuff
Off to the side there.
Yeah. So I feel like it would be a little more quaint. And
How old is your daughter?
8.
8, okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty pivotal year.
Yeah.
I mean, for friendships and so on. So I can
Yeah.
understand why she's feeling the ooh factor.
Yeah.
I was 8 when we moved to Canada.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty young. Still, right?
While they're
Development
forming their
stuff.
social connections, and that's a big deal for them in their life, because bosom
Yeah.
buddies and that kind of thing, right?
I just told her, I said, you made that friend fast. There's lots of them out there. Just do what you can, right? Make friends.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing to consider, like I read this book, and the premise the author was saying was actually kind of profound. She was saying most of us think in scarcity mode, which means we go through life thinking we don't have enough of anything. So we wake up in the morning, first thought is, I wish I had more sleep, scarcity thought. I wish I had more time for the homework I didn't get done, or the project that I need to do. I wish I had more time with my family. I wish I had more of this and that. And so we sort of go through life with this lens, if you will, of like never having enough. And as we go through it that way, like that affects the options that we can see in life when the opportunities come along, because it's almost like, oh, this guy's stalled. You can tell when it's standard business, just like poor guy. Oh, poor guy.
I remember driving a stick shift.
Oh yes, I miss it.
Yeah.
He's getting acquainted perhaps with his, but nonetheless, yeah, so there's this zone that unless we are given another alternative, and the contrary to the scarcity mindset is what they call the abundance mindset, which is like, man, like I'm glad I got the amount of sleep I got, like that's better than nothing, for example, right? Or man, I'm glad I got this opportunity to sit for coffee with this individual when I didn't have time for anything else, kind of thing, just like a different way of like wiring our
mindset.
yeah. And so I've been thinking about that quite a bit, and seeing what the effects are of tracking, the trains of thought, the patterns of ways that my synapses kind of fire off in my brain, and seeing if there isn't something to that. But I do find that words are quite powerful. The things that we believe, sometimes we may not even know what we're believing, but we kind of act on the things that we know, until something else is presented. And one of the brilliant things I think in life is when you feel you have options. When you feel you have no options, you're kind of like just stuck in one mold. But if you have like a contrast of varieties of ways of thinking, it can expand your options to say, oh, maybe this isn't the only story I have to believe. Maybe there's something else here that could inform the way I move forward. So I was just thinking about that as
tough, probably, to open the mind to that when you're so used to
one way of
glass
thinking, right?
half empty,
Yeah.
glass half full.
But then in my perspective, I would say when a new thought occurs that's profound, now it's like opening Pandora's box. It's like, oh, I can't unsee this, or I can't unthink this. It's there, and I got to at least consider this in my future deliberations, which is I find kind of helpful for me personally.
Have you just started to kind of
No, I've done this for
understand
maybe like 8, 9 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One of the significant shifts in my life. This is gonna be confession hour, by the way, Kyle. So brace yourself.
I'm all ears. Don't worry about it.
I would say something I did not know, but I've been doing for a lifetime, was what I'd call I was an amazing, functional, codependent people pleaser. So basically, what I didn't realize was, at a very early age, I learned that in my world, it felt unsafe to express my true ideas. You get mocked, made fun of, punished, whatever, for like what you're really thinking or feeling. And so, at that early point, I was like, "Yep, no one's ever gonna get access to that because that doesn't feel safe." But what does feel good is when when I feel accepted, and the only way I feel accepted is if I can read a person and what their expectations of me are, and then try to meet them at that place, and then fulfill those expectations, and then get kudos. And then I'm like, okay, they think I'm worthwhile, so that's where I'll get my sense of validation, in essence.
Wow.
So that's people pleasing, and I didn't realize I'd been doing this for a lifetime. And I mean, I got really adept and really good at it, right? Like,
is that something you learn at school, or is it something you learn in life?
I think it's something we all learn in life. We don't necessarily, we learn it socially in the context that we're in. Rare is it, I think, for any individual to be in a setting where they're brought up, where they're we're taught now, sure, embrace your authenticity, all that kind of stuff. But even as we say that, I think most of us know that it doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Because when we put ourselves out there and then others mock us, we're not given the skill set at a young age to be able to face that kind of pushback. Those ouch moments, it was like, oh, that didn't feel good. We don't even know how to communicate through that. And so we sort of retreat and we sort of insulate, and then our response generally, because of just self-preservation, is how do I protect this zone so I don't get hurt? Because that was not fun. In essence, And so I'm learning all this in the aftermath for sure. And I'm not sure why my friends say I should be a psychologist, but let me carry on here. Nonetheless, but I think this is like my experience, and one that I found many people resonate with. Because to this day, like, there's lots of people who are just kind of going through life, feeling that deep sense, Kyle, of like isolation, and that deep sense of loneliness, that deep sense that they're like, I wish someone could actually know the real me, but I'm never going to let that out because there's no one in my community, my circle of influence or community that I feel safe showing that to, because I fear the response, and that will be that's not good. I know, it really is, but that's what we've sort of grown up in. And so because of this, I made a whole pattern of ways of engaging socially whereby I could thrive in this setting, doing what I was doing. But at some point, this is about 8 years ago, I remember looking at myself in the mirror after making some like really awful choices in life. Just because I never felt I could be true to who I was, I would be true to who I was in secret, basically, right? And it's like, okay, no one will ever know this part about me. But I remember looking at myself in the mirror and saying, I think I know so much about everyone else that I'm related to or relating to. I have no idea what it means to be Bingham, though. And if I keep on going down this trajectory in life, sure, I'll accomplish many beautiful things along the way. But the way that I engaged in community, no one will ever have known the real Bingham. And that's kind of a painful thought, that I existed, and what they thought they were interacting with was the real Bingham is actually like a shell of a Bingham.
You have one shot at this.
That's the scary part, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Waste a whole life just
absolutely.
Not being you.
Yeah, that's why it's huge, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's so many in our society who are still in this place.
I agree.
So that was when I said, okay, let me press that reset button. And doing this, I know it's going to basically implode my whole world. Because now as I show up with honesty for the first time instead of dishonesty, saying, here's what it really means to be me, what I think, all the things, the people who have really bought into like what I've sold them are going to be really hurt. Really hurt, And sure enough, like everything, I did lose everything, but at least I could, for the first time, look at myself in the mirror saying, okay, here's my starting base. It was like real low for me, for sure. Like I was definitely feeling that sense of what I'd feared all along. But it was saying it might take maybe a good decade before I ever regain anything back socially. But at least I can start off with looking at myself and saying straight up, you're being true now. You're being authentic. And I mean, since then, I've just kind of been rebuilding and re-engaging in a way where I've intentionally been practicing what does honesty and transparency look like. How can I like move now forward with saying, here's me showing up and saying yes or no to whatever's in front of me with that element of you're getting the real opinion, you know? And then, and in so doing, like, even, I mean, in this job, for example, or I'll be hanging out with my friends later this evening, or with my family, or just even on the dance floor. Here's a beautiful thing. On the dance floor, I've just recently gone into dance the last couple of years.
Oh, cool.
Love it. I don't know how to dance. Oh, I've never learned formally.
Yeah.
So I just go on the dance floor and make up my own dance style. I'm a musician,
really?
so I understand music, but I've got my own flavor that is extremely unique that everyone's like, okay, this is different. And they notice on the dance floor. But here's a beautiful thing. I get so many comments and feedback. Now, I get a lot of compliments as I did in my former life.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. Before, when I got compliments, all I was thinking is, these beautiful things that they're saying and affirming in me, I can't own, because if they really knew me, they would see this isn't the truth. So as I was getting all this, I was negating and saying, no, it's not me. The difference now is, when people are like coming and giving me like beautiful things and affirmations and so on, I listen to carefully. I'm like, yeah, that resonates. Thank you. I hear that. I'm able to own that, you know? So like now, for example, when I'm on the dance floor, you've heard of that phrase that says, dance like no one's watching.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a wonderful phrase that I don't know if many people who even speak it can have experience. Because again, that fearful element of like, what are people going to think about me, right?
Yeah.
But because I've been in this zone now for quite a few years where I really could give a rip what people think. I'm like, full on here, I am world. I mean, I'm going to be tactful, I'm going to be courteous, but I'm going to be firm, I'm going to know what my boundaries are, I'm going to know how to implement my consequences, all the beautiful things. But now, you know, getting on the dance floor and saying, this is an extension of me, you know, moving artistically to music. I love it, and I don't care what people are thinking. And as I'm free to like move into the dance, and people are noticing that, they're like catching that same flavor and saying, man, like you're free, your emotions, you're just a free spirit basically, which is beautiful to see. And secondly, I also have moves that they've never seen before, but the point is, they see the form and they feel the energy as well, and they're like, okay, there's something here that is really beautiful, and I'm inspired by it. And it's not the kind that intimidates them. Like, they actually come up and say, hey, like, I really enjoy this. And in enjoying it, they also say, because you're able to do this, I feel free now to come join you. In the same way, I can engage in conversation and say, here's my messy past that I was once really ashamed about, and here's how I'm learning my way forward as a human. And people are like, I've never had someone who's so open that way. Let me tell you the thing, I was very scared that anyone would ever find out. But it's just this beautiful dynamic, Kyle, where when one can experience that freedom, it's transferable. Like, when others see it, they're like, okay, I sense that, I would like a piece of that. Can I come and join along?
What type of music do you enjoy?
Like this one here, for example, this is kind of like cinematic. I enjoy this. I dance a lot to EDM raves. Love that. Spanish, Celtic, like all the genres. Yeah. Musicals, I'm a big fan of musicals. Oh man, yes. I know, like, not a lot of guys are, but I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'll own it, you know. Yesterday I was wearing a pink bow tie, and one of my followers was like, you can't wear pink. I'm like, let me tell you this story. It was pink here. You probably relate, but I was brought up in a time where guys were discouraged from associating with pink, right? I'm like, I know that storyline. But at some point, 3 years ago, my New Year's resolution was, I don't believe that story anymore because someone told me to disassociate with it. It's not my favorite color, but I'm gonna make friends with the color pink just to prove that you can still be in your masculine strength while, you know, defying these stereotypes of sorts, you know. And so it's just that kind of thing that I really appreciate having the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Not on someone else's agenda, on your own, basically.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing I'm not opinionated, eh?
Like I said, I'll listen all day long.
I can tell you're a good listener. If I can ask you, what do you think is your superpower in life?
Mine.
Besides listening, of course.
Besides listening. I think I make a really good father, actually.
Amazing.
I have 3 young girls.
Yes.
8, 5, and 2.
Oh my goodness, yeah, this isn't it.
Yeah, it was just life-changing when I had my first daughter, right? Just life-changing. And, you know, ever since 8 years has gone by, it's just gone, right?
I know.
I don't know if you have children.
3.
Do you have 3?
I have 3.
Yeah.
Mine are 13, 11, and 10.
So you can relate.
I can, absolutely. And I know, we're saying that one
life-changing,
Oh,
isn't it?
totally. Okay, and I love that response. I'd like to dig a little further in. Say a new dad is coming to you and saying, okay, I'd like some insight from your 8 years. What would you say is the number one thing you'd want to share with this new dad to help him on his journey in being a dad?
Good question. Yeah, I would say enjoy every moment of it along the way, even though there's many moments where you do not in that specific time period. Like it's just super hard. But, you know, when you look back, a month, 2 months, 6 months, or a year, it goes so fast. You do not get time back. You can't buy time.
Oh,
it's
my
gone.
goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
So
That's kind of
everyone
haunting.
says that, but it's so true.
You feel
just
it.
need to hear it, right?
Yeah.
You feel it. So I would say that for sure. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice.
I heard someone recently say, the days are long and the years are short.
Yeah.
Or the hours are long and the years are short.
Very,
like,
very true statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day can seem very long. Screaming kids, so much going on, competing priorities, work, phone calls, family.
Yeah, totally.
Just, the day can drag on, but when you look back and it's all over, you better wish you enjoyed it, right? You don't want regrets. No one does.
No.
We all have them, probably.
Yeah.
Speed and red light camera in 300 meters.
Yeah.
Speed
May I
limit
do
is 80
a further deep
kilometers per
dive?
hour.
This is an interesting one.
And red light camera in 200
I love
meters.
like the
Speed limit is 80 kilometers per
commitments
hour.
to being a dad, and now one of the exercises I've done, which is a bit more challenging, is if I were to take away all of the things that I do in life and the roles and responsibilities, what's left? So if I were to take away my role career-wise and my role in the community, my role, like if I scale back all these things, including being a dad, at the very core, what's the thing that once I take away all these things, I'd be left with when it comes to you at the very core?
What are we left with?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a tough one.
it is.
That's a tough one.
I'll leave that with you to wrestle with.
Yeah.
Man, you'll have a lot to share with your partner when you get back home.
Yeah. You sure you went to the Bills event? Yeah.
By the way, this coming down the hill here, just a corner, you see the entire mountain range, but then in addition, you see the city just coming into the skyline like that. Golly, what a kaleidoscope. And I wonder, why don't they like have a little turn off here somewhere where people can actually take this in, because this is glorious, right?
Have you ever driven to Invermere?
No. Oh, hold on. That's in the Kootenays.
It is, yeah. The
No, I
93
haven't.
highway. No, there's
No.
some really nice scenery along there.
Okay.
Oftentimes, in the spring, you'll see a lot of bears on the side of the road coming
Really?
out of that hibernation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful, yeah.
Golly.
A lot of people would
Pull
maybe,
over,
think that is pull over. Just
Oh.
not supposed to do it because it's
No.
a highway and they're
Yep.
not really set up lookout points, but man, there's so many. So neat. Yeah. Beautiful thing about BC and Alberta.
I grew up in BC,
Okay.
in Kamloops, and then I planted trees for years up in the north as well. So,
Northern BC?
northern BC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, northern BC, and then I worked for a bit out in the north here in Alberta on the oil rigs as well. You know, I wasn't a fan of Alberta. I worked in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, and even further up north. And I was like, this. But then when I experienced Calgary, I was like, okay, I may not be a fan of Alberta in general, but of Calgary in specific, man, it's a beautiful kaleidoscope of things coming together.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So I'm quite enthusiastic here.
I've heard I've never been, but I've heard Northern BC is very unpopulated, very
It
dense
is.
with,
It is.
forestry.
Absolutely.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. It's very small communities for sure.
Yeah.
The biggest community going up north there would be Prince George.
Okay.
And that's really tiny. Quesnel, Prince George.
Yeah.
Williams Lake is even smaller. And then from there on, it's just all tiny places. If you've ever, you probably haven't been to Smithers or Prince Rupert.
No.
I call that like the Swiss Alps of Canada. It's just
Oh, yeah.
gorgeous, the mountains there. Oh my goodness, you're right there. It is a clarity in the air, Kyle. It's just clear and beautiful. And
Are you a skier or a snowboarder?
I'm a cross-country skier, which I haven't done for years. I've never snowboarded or downhill.
No kidding.
So not yet, yeah. I enjoy skating though.
Yeah.
Skating, tobogganing, which I haven't done for years. The Snow Angels,
Yeah.
those other classics, but
Cool.
no, I've never downhilled or snowboarded. I've heard snowboarding is painful when you first get into it.
Yeah, when you first learn,
Yeah.
it's tough to kind of learn those edges and
That's what I
and not
heard.
catch them. It
Yeah.
takes a bit of time.
Interesting.
People say snowboarding is difficult to learn,
Okay,
but easy once you get it.
I
And skiing is
see.
the total opposite.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Anyone can jump on skis and say I know how to ski, but to master it, be a really good skier
Yeah.
is difficult.
Okay.
I don't know.
Huh. Which one do you prefer?
I like both. So I was a snowboarder previous to having kids,
Okay.
and then when I had kids, it was a little bit hard to kind of teach them and train them and show them how to do it when
yeah.
on a board. I was strapping in and
Yeah.
those types of things. So
Yeah.
I jumped back on skis and
Okay.
yeah, I like them both. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you guys have been in Chestermere for how long?
Chestermere. So my wife's been there her whole life. She was born and raised in Chestermere.
In Chestermere.
And then
Wow.
I've been with her 10 years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been there about 10 years.
How do you guys meet?
Yeah. Ranchman's actually. Ranchman's the bar on
Yes, of
McLeod
course.
Trail.
Yeah. Okay.
That's where I
Okay.
met, yeah.
And are you both in that theme of cowboy music and so on?
Sort of. Like she
Kinda.
grew up on a farm in just outside the city limits of Chestermere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, she was kind of that's her
Her thing.
genre and her thing.
Okay,
And
cool.
I wouldn't say
joined
I
in.
really was, but I was there that night. And
You're like, this is
cool.
the form of admittance. I'll sign up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's brilliant. I love it.
yeah,
Hmm. No, that's really sweet.
it was cool.
That was 10 years ago.
It was fast. Yeah, it was just had our 10-year anniversary early November. So.
You mentioned you traveled away from Calgary for a bit. Where did you go exploring?
When I was young,
Mhm.
I traveled around with my folks, so I was still with them. So we went to Burnaby,
Oh yeah,
BC.
yeah.
My dad was working on a big project there called Cassie Architecture. It's a big tunnel project
Yeah.
in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then after that, we went to Pitcher Creek,
Yeah.
which is a tiny little windy town,
Yep.
kind of by the crow's nest.
Yeah.
So there, and then we made our way back to Calgary after that.
Do you still work with your dad?
No,
No.
I never did work with him.
Oh,
We just
okay.
kind of worked in the same industry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is weird, but a lot of people say you end up following in the footsteps of your family.
So I see. Yeah.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Other people say, I'm not doing that. I've seen what it's done to him. And great.
I'm especially intrigued when I see families that go into business together. That's when I get really curious and say, how does this work? How and separation and
That'd
family.
be tough, eh?
I imagine it would do devastating things in some contexts, in other contexts they've made it work,
Yeah.
So yeah, the company I just worked for that I came back to hear from, small company in distribution, but they're a family outfit, and so when I asked them, they were saying a huge part has to do is just maintaining those boundaries and lines, so
Mm-hmm.
and also knowing what the hierarchy is like. Who
Yeah.
gets to make the final call and
Right.
everything. So,
Yeah, you don't want a power struggle.
no,
That wouldn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever seen that movie, TV series Succession?
No,
Okay.
no.
Similar dynamic.
Yes.
Billionaire is trying to figure out which of his 4 or 5 kids he's going to leave the business to, and they're all vying for, getting that spot, and it just wreaks havoc because he's been a terrible parent in the first place, and it's just, it's a disaster. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Are you an only child yourself?
No, I have an older brother and a younger sister.
You're in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet.
I'm the eldest of 6 in my family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The stage that they all
family.
come to respectfully and enough skin. As in, when we moved to Canada, it was me and my 2 brothers. Then my parents had 3 more in my teens and into my 20s. So my baby sister is 22 years my junior.
Wow.
And now she is half my age at 22.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty spectacular. It's been so much fun watching the younger three growing up, though.
Yeah.
With the older two, I was a rotten brother. I was immature. I look back on those times, I'm like, oh yeah. But when the younger three came along, I'd realized that I'd missed a significant opportunity, with the other two. So, I mean, we're good now, but
Yeah.
I wanted to, try again, and so it was really neat watching the younger three. And the funny thing is, my younger three siblings match my three kids in their gender distribution. So it's girl, boy, girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And so I almost feel, Kyle, like I have a foretaste in my experience of what's coming with my own kids. Like I've worked with kids for decades as well, teaching and so on.
Yeah.
And so I feel very familiar and comfortable working with kids of all age categories, including teens. But watching the younger three siblings grow up, I feel like I've already seen this happen. It's now happening with my three kids. But the humorous part is that I keep calling my kids by my siblings' names and my siblings by my kids' names so often. It's just, yeah. They're just like, oh, Biniam.
There's too
But
many of them.
yeah, there it is.
Do they all live here? Your siblings?
Yes, in Canada, I mean,
Yeah,
or just
in
yes.
Canada, yeah.
Yeah, I've got two brothers in Vancouver now. One brother in Edmonton with his family, and then my two sisters are here in the city.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, my baby sister's my roomie. She's
Oh,
the
really?
adored one of all of us. Like, oh yeah, she's pretty swell.
She enjoys it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When she graduated a few years back, it was almost like we all started this campaign or this competition to see who could convince her to move out to all of our different locations. And the Calgary team won. My bid to her was this. I said, listen, I know you've got your offers for Vancouver, and it's a lovely spot. Edmonton, yikes. But Calgary, because here, come live with me, I said, because you're in a new season where you get to explore your independence for the first time, which is amazing. And I'd love to create that space for you. But it's also nice to have a landing pad where you feel safe, where so I'd
Everyone
love
needs
to.
that.
Yeah, so that was the bid. So, no, the Calgary team won, and much to the chagrin of all the rest.
cool.
Indeed, yeah. Yeah, it's been really sweet.
It's nice that you could share that with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, they go so fast and you're helping her out. She's probably really appreciative that you're, lended your hand out like that.
The thing I told her is, like, you'll see how I live for sure. And now, like, the best part is we can have adult conversations, like they're grown up in essence. And I've never wanted to ever be like in a, parent role or anything like that. But in this realm, I told her, we're going to have very frank conversations about how we do life well together, so that we're not crossing over each other's toes. And we're going to learn how to do this in a way where, we can be candid and so on, and grown up about it, so.
Yeah.
So, no, it's been really, really enriching for our relationship too.
How long do you envision that remaining like this?
Well, she expressed interest in moving out at one point, I think it was about a year ago now. And I said, hell yeah. I mean, like, the whole, like, this is the next evolution for your moving into your own independence, and so I would love to make that happen. Just so you know, you always will have a place here. But then that's when the housing rates and rent increases happened, and it's just like, ooh, ouch, like there's really nothing out there. So, I mean, it's not like she's chomping at the bit to get out. It's just more like, when the time comes and opportunity arises, yes, it'll happen.
Yeah.
But we're still quite content in making it happen.
That's nice.
Together, yeah.
It's a fine situation now.
Speed and red light camera in 100
For sure.
meters.
For all of us,
Speed
really, I
limit
think.
is 50
Yeah.
kilometers per hour.
Yeah, it's not easy to
No.
move out and do your own thing now, is it?
No. No.
My kids are.
And yet, I almost say, like, who was I talking to? I was driving a mom yesterday, and she was sharing with me the sad news about how her 30-year-old kids are cutting things off with her for whatever reasons, and so she doesn't have access to them or their grandkids. And I was telling her, honestly, like, just helping her have some perspective. I told her, here's what I'm seeing. One, don't forget, that you're doing amazing as a mom, because here's your kids who are now independent. They're making some hard calls, which are painful. But remember, like, as they're making these ultimatums that you'll never get access to them anymore, what I've learned in my experience is we can make these ultimatums thinking we're so powerful to make these calls of how our life is going to go. But honestly, all of us are so we can't make those calls because we're there's so much around us that changes that we have to like adapt to. And so for a person to say this will never happen, you can listen, but listen with a grain of salt, because they can only go so far in those assertions. Because the reality is life is going to come along in its unexpected way, and they're going to have to shift and evolve with the challenges that come along. And rarely do we ever stay the same. So what seems so consistent right now is really just for the moment.
Right.
And it'll change over time. So just give it time to breathe. And don't forget, like, here they are, independent. You did your job as a mom. Like, you may not have connection at the moment, but you fulfilled what you're supposed to do. And you and I are in that same road now where we're like, how can we raise our kids so that when it's their turn to be independent, they can go and learn in the midst of independence as well too, you know? And we will never stop worrying and caring and supporting, but that's like our final exam, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Kids kind of move off into that zone and saying, did we have... I read this really neat book. Let me share the insights from this book. This book on parenting suggested 3 different seasons that kids go through. On the one hand, it says when they're really young, like, you know, babies to maybe 3 or 4, that's the give me your hand season, where you're saying to the kid, I'm going to show you how this world works. I'm going to show you why you can't run in front of a moving semi on the highway. I'm going to hold you, by the way, and show you why you don't, you know, put your hand on a hot plate on the oven. I'm going to show you these kind of things, and there's no deviance there. It's not like, oh, you really want to? Okay, I guess I'll let you know. It's more like, you're not going to do this. This is like the hard facts of life. There's a pecking order here, and here's how you're going to understand that, right? So that's the give me your hand season. The second of the 3 seasons is give me your mind. This is when the kids start asking the why question, which is a great question. Now they're starting to try and understand and process what they've been shown. So why can't we just run in front of a moving semi? What happened then, you know? And you're saying, okay, let me give you some background on what happens over on this side if you're to follow through on this. Here's the other options you have. Here's how you start using your mind to determine the choices you're making, right? And then as they're moving into a different season, which is maybe the final season, and that's like the pre-teens into teen years, now it's give me your heart. By this time, it's game over for us to have any influence in a significant way, because now, like, we're losing that space. There's a lot more influence there. And give me your heart is more like, how do we win their hearts so that we can still be relevant? So that, you know, they still come running to daddy and saying, Dad, I feel scared. How can I process this? Or, Dad, I'm uncertain what to do with this boy's attention, or all the things, right? How can we earn that space along the way, where from the give me your hand, give me your mind, and then give me your heart, it's that evolution that flows into like ongoing connection in meaningful ways, right? So that in that final season, into their 30s and 40s, they're still calling and saying, Dad, you still have influence in my life.
That's one of the most important, probably.
I think so.
Right?
Absolutely. But that doesn't happen by accident. I know. Yeah, it takes intentionality to say, how do I engage and have this place, you know? How do I talk to her in the midst of the frustrating teen season when she's so confused because of the emotional hormones that are kicking in, you know, and heads, they can't tell heads from tails or whatever, and you're just trying to figure out, what do I do in this area, right? And even in those settings, how do we maintain that consistency and that patience that says, hey, we'll get to this together, you know, and still offer that zone of safety? How do we, in essence, model what it looks like for them to be recipients of appropriate attention from men in their lives, you know? So they're like, actually, Dad set a really good bar for me, and if you're not, you know, giving me what he's given me by way of affirmation and acknowledgement and respect and all the things, you know, they're just basically like tuning others out, saying, you just don't cut it. Because my standard is my dad. That's a big deal.
Sad thinking of all that.
You know, there are so many girls especially who don't have dads in their lives, sadly. It's rare to find dads, stay-at-home dads even, but dads who are still in the picture in really active positive and intentional ways this way, who are saying, I'm here and I mean business when it comes to the affairs of my daughter's heart, right? Who
Yeah.
are actively engaged in saying, how do I keep that space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I find those inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That lady that you were
Yeah.
taking yesterday, I
yeah.
can feel for her, right? She's probably just
Mhm.
lost and really not sure what to
You know,
do and wants to quickly grab it back when that's going to just push
absolutely.
away, right?
Painful, right?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that ride with her, and just the things that I was able to share with her. It really was. I'm really glad I was with her that day, at that moment. But because the outcome was, she felt really encouraged. Perspective
That's good.
had come for her in an unexpected place as an Uber driver.
Yeah.
But she went away with a lot more hope, saying, okay, thank you for reminding me of the bigger picture. She's just in the moment right now, right?
Yeah.
But just helping her back away from it and say, there's more at play here. And it really isn't game over. The power that these individuals, kids, think they have, and being able to say yes or no in this setting, what's really happening here, there's more at play.
Yeah.
And this story isn't over. And I told her my experience with my one brother, my one younger brother who was really close to it, when at a national political volatile time when people were like on either side of an issue, and he took one side, and if you're on the other side, he just kind of took that personally, and he kind of cut off the rest of the family for a while, right? And my encouragement to the rest of my siblings was, I remember when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, I was that same sort of like, oh, this is how it's got to be,
Yeah.
And just give it time, like I'm not guaranteeing, but I think things will shift. I think things will evolve whereby he will come around, because again, we're not giving him credit for that kind of power to say, oh, like he can stay in his zone indefinitely, right? And so I found that really
fix that
helpful.
right away. Like, there's nothing you can do to just
Yeah.
fix that. You don't want to just switch to his side to appease him. That's not
Exactly. Yeah. No, and that's like for me where I was like, I'm gonna be courteous, respectful in the way I'm firm on where I'm at right now, but in being firm, I'm still gonna make space, because when you recalibrate, I'm not gonna the encouragement to my siblings was, how can we create space in our hearts where when he does come back, we're not saying I told you so, we're saying welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just needed to give you some time, in essence, right? And so, what does that look like? And so, I mean, he did come back, and it wasn't guaranteed that he would come back. It wasn't guaranteed.
Right.
But I said, should he come back, And what does that look like when our kids take the same road? When our kids are in those seasons where they're like, and they just go off because they're still trying to figure out where their beacon of influence is coming from. How do we still maintain that consistency so that it's like, I'm not going to take this personally,
Yeah.
but I'm still going to teach you how I hold on my line, and hopefully you'll learn something along the way too, even as I have open arms when you choose to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get angry or, that's not helpful, is it?
No, it
It's
isn't.
tough sometimes,
It isn't.
probably.
It's hard though in the moment, because emotions
Yeah.
are, like we were saying in that conversation with religion and politics. This also comes into the realm of those who you love the most. I've often seen, Kyle, this is an interesting observation. I've seen really strong, attractive, accomplished women who will take no crap from the world. They are very strong individuals, except for from their abusive partner.
Really?
Yeah, and it makes sense, because here they have this shell. They know what they're about, and they're going to do their thing with tremendous power and so on. But when they let someone into a vulnerable space of trust and care and vulnerability, and that person isn't one who has earned that, they probably earned it in a way that they're romantic or whatever. But once they're in that space, all of a sudden now they are vulnerable, and this person knows how to hit those buttons and how to hit their insecurities, because they've shared that in a moment of connection or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it moves and it morphs into something else, and it's just it's a tough thing to watch. And for them, if they're ever able to come out of that setting, now they're even more fortified before someone else comes in, and the real challenge is, now can you figure out how to get strong for yourself without
Mhm.
having to appear strong? How can you look strong for yourself so that you're convinced about your strength, so that if anyone ever comes in and starts crossing those boundaries that you've committed to yourself,
Yeah.
it's not an automatic sort of address and saying,
Yeah.
that's out of bounds. Do that one more time and we're done, kind of thing, or
Yeah.
whatever you draw
Yeah.
by way of implementation, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she'll keep phoning you now. The person yesterday.
I get comments often saying, "You're my next." I wish you said you could always be my Uber. But this is the beautiful part. You can see why I enjoy this job now, because I get to catch people
Yeah.
in moments, that are unexpected.
Yeah.
I get to hear what's happening in their world. It might be just, philosophizing, making jokes all the time, or it may even be a quiet ride, or whatever else,
Mm.
But the reality is, I never know what I'm walking into.
Yeah.
I
That's
never know
true.
what I'm going to walk into. And when I have the opportunity to walk into it, I really appreciate that experience. It says, we're able to connect in a meaningful way with a fellow human being, see something from a different vantage point that it's profound, sacred, beautiful, It's a big deal.
How many days a week do you like to drive?
This is my full-time job now.
Oh, is it?
It is,
Oh, wow.
absolutely. I do this on purpose.
Good for you.
So, yeah, I do maybe 6 hours a day. No, sorry. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day kind of thing. But I mean,
It's flexible though, right?
It
You
is
just
so
turn it
flexible.
on when you want to. If you don't want to
Absolutely.
work, you just don't.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it kind of spoils you that way.
Yeah.
By way of autonomy and independence, and you're able to create your own setting. How are you going to do your business? Like you probably, and most of my riders know so much more about the Uber experience than I do. I only know my experience here,
Yeah.
Because I really take Ubers, and so my riders, they get to see such a variety
Yeah.
of ways that people do it, right?
I
Which
don't
is fun.
Take too many.
No,
Not
okay.
really.
Okay,
Just events here and there.
gotcha. Yeah.
We're busy with life. We don't have time to do these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they have the 3 traffic lanes going out of here still.
Busy down here today.
So
Or maybe it's like this every day. I wouldn't even know.
at the end of the business day, around this time, they have 3 lanes going out of the city to fast track people's exodus,
okay.
basically.
Okay.
So going out, it's 3 lanes. Coming in the morning, it's 3 lanes going in.
Okay.
And it's just for about a 2-3 hour, hence why they have the X up top
Right.
there to say.
So it's just one lane going in right there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And hence the opportunity to grow in patience.
Well, this is nothing compared to some of the places in the States, Vancouver, Toronto.
Oh, I've heard about Toronto
Oh, I've
and
not-
Vancouver, of course. I know, yes, yeah. What is known for that, though? My goodness, that is something, eh?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a lot of time out of your day going
It
to work and coming home.
is. And I wonder why they don't rely maybe just on the subway system if it's that much faster, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
Well, I think a lot of the cities are just so big, right? They're just different subsidiaries that there's just no transit there, right?
I see. Our city is very unique. I mean, it's a beautiful city and I love it. But in contrast to other cities that I've been and heard of, we don't have much of a nightlife in the downtown core. It's thriving during business hours,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, everyone sort of goes back to the
Scatters,
suburbs,
yeah.
right? And then our nightlife happens on 17th in the Beltline, right? Or on 10th.
Yeah.
But not really down here in the city. I mean, we also have Stephen Avenue for sure.
Yeah.
And that's lovely, but it's just
Yeah,
one little
you're
segment.
right. It's
Yeah.
true.
It's
There's not much
fascinating.
going on elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's by design or if it just kind of
Yeah.
happened like that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my online guys is saying he knew of a female supervisor who was similar to that strong lady that I was describing. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's. I wonder if there's a term for them, but yeah, they're definitely out there. And they're hard to see because they're so strong and determined and accomplished and all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Being in the construction business, are you in it because you love it, or because that's where you've always been and that's how you provide for your family?
I think it's a bit of both right
Bit of
now,
both, right?
actually. Yeah, I'm kind of
Cool.
in that period in my life where
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah. You've gotten to a point career-wise where it really works.
Got there, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Project manager.
yeah.
That's a significant role too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. There's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking
Yeah.
after some pretty
Yeah.
big things, a lot of planning and scheduling and dealing with costs and financials. And
Gotcha.
those types of things. So
Gotcha.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots to learn.
And then, does it afford you like a wonderful balance in time home and time at work? Or is that a challenge?
No, it's not bad actually.
It's not too bad that
No,
way.
this one's pretty good. You know, my kids are in activities and things like that. I've been able to kind of balance all that
Nice.
pretty well for the most part. So I'm happy about that.
That flexibility usually comes after time invested in the company, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff's very important to me to be part of. 'Cause
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
That's
wanna
time
miss,
you don't want to lose,
No,
right?
I don't want to miss that.
Yeah,
Stuff.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. My daughter's in ring at right now.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool sport. The middle daughter and the oldest, and
Yeah.
the little one I'm sure will join in one day when she's old enough.
Nice.
Keeps them busy in the winter, and
Yeah.
I just love it. So
There's a ring gun, so a little bit more advanced.
yeah, some of those tournaments are age groups in it too. So
Yes.
it goes U10 all the way up to U19. So it's
No
all of them.
way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was one not too long ago in Airdrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Calgary has a few of them, but it's
Okay. Pretty pitch in the city.
Oh,
that
really?
all the surrounding areas come to play at. Isn't that crazy?
Where's that at?
It's over Bannister. No, yeah, Bannister Road, I think. So it's over by 106, 600. Let's
Oh,
see,
down
what's
south by Shaughnessy
down,
area?
exactly.
Okay.
Oh no, not Shaughnessy, but over closer to. Let's see what's over there. We've got. Like 130th turn off Barlow, basically. Ogden. That's where it's at. In the Ogden
okay.
area, yeah. Yeah. So that's where that's at.
Only
There.
one in Calgary?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Man, for that.
You know,
It's
that's
like
what they've.
soccer.
I know.
Soccer.
Soccer's like, and then if you've traveled to the northeast, on their soccer fields, it isn't like soccer fields. Do you know what they have up there? Crickets.
Oh, really?
That's what they play up there. There's a lot, like, huge East Indian population, right? And that's what
Okay.
they're really big into. And so,
Crickets.
in the summer, you'll drive by those fields and you'll see the whole community. You know, the men out there playing. It's huge. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm getting you here on time or not. It's
None of this
5:30.
is your fault.
Oh, that's okay.
It's yeah. Show up whenever. It's pretty open.
Okay.
Yeah. We're getting close, I think.
We are. It's just over here, actually.
Yeah.
Are you expecting to be entertained pleasantly tonight, or find anything unexpected, or is it more like, I just got to be here? You mentioned that it's kind of a fun event for you tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet some colleagues and
Cool.
yeah. See what the night does, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Cool. To be determined.
Yeah. Enjoy the time
Love it.
away from the little ones.
And those responsibilities.
Yeah.
No, we made it. We made it, and I was really worried because I was thinking, I'm gonna have nothing to talk to this guy about.
Oh, yes. I'm sure you've been like that with anyone. Huh?
I'm teasing. Something my friends have often told me though is they say, Binyam, they say, you often ask great questions, but you never let people ask you questions. And so they've been on my case to say, you need to do that. So I just realized I haven't really done that. You have asked. I'm going to just get it out of the way. What curiosities do you have that you'd love to ask me? Or what question do you like, oh, I'd love to ask this if it weren't so improper or whatever. I know what you're thinking.
Can't say I have any.
You were definitely wondering what size curlers I use in my hair, right?
Yeah. There you go.
That's
Yeah, that's
classified. That was funny.
Yeah. No, I can't say anything. Comes to my.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to listen. Don't feel bad about it.
You were great at listening, by the way. Yeah, I did notice that too.
have to. I have 4 girls in my house.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure has been mine,
Appreciate you
Kyle.
Putting up with the traffic.
Oh, it's part of my job.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you. You have a nice evening.
You too, Kyle.
It was good chatting with you.
Likewise.
Thanks.
Cheers. Hi, friends. I see you there, Linux. 2 hours left. Okay. Yikes. When is my other pickup, though? I need to find out. I think I lost my one pickup here. Darn it. Friends, I'm just catching up on my messages here, so sorry. My goodness, it is so busy here in the city right now. It's crazy.